Hey y'all, Sidison here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. Today, I was playing a lot of Test Drive Unlimited, at least the first game that came out around 2005, 2006. And I've been honestly getting into the, exploring, driving around Hawaii, test driving vehicles at dealerships, and buying and racing. And I kind of had an epiphany at that time, all the cars that are like in this game, they feel very different to what most racing games have now. I mean, yeah, some of the cars are still in modern games, but what I meant in talking about is the fact that the whole theme and vibe of all the cars in these games, it feels like a time capsule that's been locked, It feels like or 2000s car design, 2000s, early Top Gear-esque kind of driving feel and designs and stuff. And I wondered what changed. Where did all of this stuff go? And why have cars all just been turned into the same now? Many car manufacturers are not trying to experiment or try to make fun cars, trying to make interesting designs. It seems like every automaker is going for the same thing, trying to make as much money. Yeah, and that's gonna be the topic of today's video. If you like this kind of content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment what y'all think about this topic and how I could improve my videos. I will be sure to listen to everybody's feedback and opinions. But with that out of the way, let's get back to the topic we have at hand. Now, what I would like to first point out is that despite all of these cars, at least in the game, being from different vehicles and different manufacturers, they each have like a unique personality and way they're designed, Each of them have a unique identity. Each brand itself, even different vehicles from the same brand, have a certain identity. And, from watching Top Gear and watching stuff like that, you see that that's something that was translated from real life where, there's a specific unique identity that BMW vehicles have or certain Ford cars have compared to Chevys, and even within brands like Dodge and Ram, or between Lexus and Toyota. Each of them have a unique kind of way that they're presented, the way they're styled, the way they drive. And nowadays, I think that that's been lost, honestly. A lot of that has been gone away to get that one, try to fill in the market with what sells. And that it could very well be a business thing where a lot of these companies have basically sold their soul off just to make money on the market, because everybody wants a crossover, everybody wants an SUV, everybody wants an electric vehicle. So if they can make that thing and then just slap their badge on it, it feels like car companies are like, yo, that's a great way to make and sell and make money, sell a lot of cars. And yeah, it does work. It does work. I mean, if you look a lot of these brands, it does work, and they're honestly just cutting off all the excess that doesn't sell. And what you end up is Mitsubishi or Ford or even Volvo nowadays, because they've cut off a lot of their iconic wagons and stuff, where now it's just the same set of vehicles that just have a different badge. They have slightly different, and I mean, I know that because if you take these vehicles on the side, if you compare them on besides their side views, they look very similar. You cannot argue that it's very hard to differentiate when it compared to back then. You could tell each brand had their own design cues, and honestly, that usually back then it comes back from they have one one concept vehicle that they'd have, and then they'd take that concept vehicle and use the styling that they've taken from that and spread it all over, like put it in all of their vehicles. Like Audis have their own like unique styling back then. Cadillacs had their own unique styling, and a lot of these unique stylings came from one concept car that came out and people really liked, and so they decided to take the styling cues from that. And I feel like nowadays that's kind of lost because, you know, concept cars, I mean, a lot of concept cars now try to go like super far future, trying to make like electric vehicles that have stuff, but then a lot of them either because the media does not take to them too kindly, or brands just don't like to take the risks anymore. Most of them don't end up on regular vehicles, and yeah, you know, and it doesn't help that, you know, it brings me on to my second point of colors and body shapes. You know, back then, cars were different styles, different shapes, like coupes, crossovers, cabriolets, sports cars, muscle and pony car styles, and coupes, like even fastback. Like all of these, despite sometimes having two doors and being like a sporty vehicle, sometimes they have unique like styling. Like the Ford Thunderbird, although it was like very disliked and seen as like a terrible retro, I think it's fine. I just don't like the engine and stuff, but that's besides the point. Like that wasn't a sports car, but Ford was like, hey, let's make something like that and sell it to the public. And you know, it seems that there's been a lot of like that, and I think especially during the 2000s, a lot of the retro throwback became very popular. But yeah, I mean, the colors, especially back then, I mean, during the 90s and like early 2000s, like brands were willing to make very iconic, very flashy colors, you know? And nowadays it's all the grayscale, where it's all grage, you know, black, white, dark gray, light gray, medium gray. That's like 80% of what all new vehicles are sold as. And then you have your like obligatory like dark red, dark blue that constitutes for like 3% of the all car sales. But yeah, that doesn't help, you know, all the fact that we all have like the similar like grayscale vehicles, and everything just now ending up as a crossover or a pickup truck. Even with pickup trucks, I mean, even back then you had single cab trucks with long beds, single cabs with short beds, you know, you had crew cabs, and you also had, you know, like extended cabs. You know, I barely see extended cab trucks nowadays, but extended cabs used to be like the perfect medium, where you had single cabs which only had 3 seats, but extended cabs, you had like a small amount of back rear space, and you had doors that flipped the other way, but it wasn't as big and long as a crew cab. But now every goddamn truck is a crew cab with a small bed that rarely even gets used. Like, it's companies seem to not want to take risks when it comes to designs, when it comes to shapes of vehicles, and when it comes to colors, you know. Like, I feel like it's also down to consumers, because a lot of the millennial generation seems to not like to deviate or buy unique or interesting cars with interesting and unique colors. I mean, I will say the car community is a little different, but the car community and the enthusiast market itself is already very small, and it's even shrinking as time goes on. So yeah, I don't really think that where it's going to be people that get to buy, you know, the small people that do exist, that have the money, I don't think they're going to have a wide selection of, you know, sporty vehicles or fun vehicles, because car manufacturers, I mean, they got to make money. And with a lot of these makers, they seem to prioritize making as much money as possible over making fun and flashy vehicles. But I think one of the biggest like things that's been hit, and one of what I would say is like the worst, is the loss of the soul, both the soul of the company, both the souls and driving experience and how a vehicle operates, because a lot of vehicles nowadays seem soulless, and a lot of these brands, car companies, seem to also be soulless, which kind of makes sense, you know. Soulless brands make soulless cars, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to find cars that are fun to drive anymore, new vehicles. Most of the fun to drive cars that are still on the market are, what, now 10 years old, 15 years old. It's truly like a bad time, honestly, for people who enjoy cars and people who like cars, which is probably why the Top Gear presenters like Jeremy Clarkson have kind of stopped caring about new vehicles and stuff, because even he's pointed out that, you know, there isn't much fun cars anymore. There's no fun to drive cars anymore. Car companies don't seem to care about, you know, cars that are personality, quirky vehicles, you know. Even cars that aren't performance vehicles. You have like very unique styling vehicles that even appear to like appeal to non-car guys, like, you know, the Honda Element or the Kia Soul or the Nissan Cube, or even vehicles like the Chevy, I think it was the HHR, actually no, the SSR. I mean, you could also include the HHR SS, which is like the weird sport version, but yeah, trucks like the SSR, or vehicles like I aforementioned Ford Thunderbird, or, you know, really weird and interesting cars, or in fact any Saab vehicle in general, because Saabs have that very like quirky or unique identity about them, where they never make normal cars, but, you know, that's kind of the charm with them. Yeah, I don't think car company, I mean, obviously you could say most of those cars were flops and didn't sell well. And at the time, at least before the 2008 financial crisis, most of these automakers could care less, because at that time, you know, money was cheap and they could just make a ton of money. But yeah, I guess that's also indicative of economic, how the economy is doing and economic health and stuff, because yeah, we kind of lost a lot of fun cars after like 2012 or 2015. I'd say everything past the late 2010s and 2020s is when we really saw a lot of fun and interesting cars being killed off, and modernity and kind of the soul being lifted out of vehicles in order to try to squeeze profit margins and stuff, because honestly that's what a lot of car companies care about nowadays. But yeah, it is a sad time. It is a very sad time, but yeah, hopefully things will change. I don't think so, but at least we can be happy that it happened, you know. No need to be sad that it's gone. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. I will be working on a very special video soon, so be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.